What is up, guys, and I do hope you're well, and today we're back with some Entitled Parents. If you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe button, and maybe, just maybe, even that notification bell. And we are slowly but surely, approaching that 35k mark, and when we do hit it, I will be giving away a few of those daddy cringe mugs. It made me cringe even just saying that. We're going to be giving away 5 of those mothers, and to make sure you're in with a chance, hit that subscribe and follow along. And with that being said, let's get started. The first story is by What the Hell 431. I witnessed an EM getting destroyed. I saw this today and I can't stop laughing. I was travelling in my city metro. It wasn't that much crowded at the time, but all the seats were occupied. Still, you could freely stand without being humped by a stranger. There was this kid sitting in the reserved seats. The ones for people with handicaps, pregnant women and old people. Definitely not for mums of 2-year-olds. He's probably 14 or 15, I don't know. He is the hero of the story here. Then at one stop, our EM comes in. She has this cute little child who's trying to keep up with his mum's pace. EM instantly sees our hero sitting at the reserved seat and just stares at him. I guess this was her way to make people automatically give away their seats or something. The kid didn't move though. This probably irked the EM a lot, because she moved towards the kid with heavy steps. She comes near him, stops, and again does the stare. The kid doesn't budge. Then she starts screaming. If she didn't have the whole compartment's attention earlier, she had it now. She starts berating the kid for sitting in a reserved seat and not giving it for someone more deserving, like a mother like herself with a young kid. I don't know what her logic was. The seats aren't reserved for them anyways. She just starts shouting and screaming and tries to get others' opinion on it, and for a while, people were on her side. Then the kid out of nowhere rolls the right side of his jeans up and detaches the artificial leg and keeps it in front of EM. The look on her face was priceless. It looked like she was mortified and embarrassed at the same time. She just backed away silently and just got off at the next stop. I don't think that was her stop. That's just one of them prime examples where not all illnesses, physical disabilities or anything like that are visible all the time. You know, you hear this all the time about disabled spaces, disabled toilets, people saying, oh, you shouldn't be using that because you ain't got disability. But there's people with IBS and all sorts and they still got them. You know what, fuck those people, man. And fair play to that guy just pulling his leg off and whipping it in front of EM. He should have beat her with it too. Next we have a story from Crypto7899. EM wants me to hide my scars. Potential trigger warning, suicide reference, normal intro stuff, first time post, mobile, etc, etc. Not going to bother with naming the cast because you're all smart people, I think. You assume too much. I'm only joking, people. Don't get the pitchforks out now. So for a while I've been struggling with depression and anxiety, with support from professionals and friends, etc. I'm getting better now, but it's still there. The backstory to this event is that I had a breakdown a few months prior and had overdose and then cut my arms fairly considerably. Ended up in hospital, but made it. A few months after this, I was feeling happier and more confident for the first time in a long time, and went out to a restaurant with a friend to treat myself. It was a warm day, so I wore a t-shirt, which meant my scars were on display, and felt pretty good about myself. I had enough self-confidence to actually have them on display. After a while, I noticed a kid at another table staring at my arm. Well, it was already enough to put me on the edge a little, but I ignored it because kids stare at stuff, you know. So whatever. He then said something to his EP, and already my chest was getting tight because I could sense some level of bitchery about to happen. The EP turns around and leans across to me. The EP says, "Sorry, can you cover up your arms? My son doesn't like looking at them." I said, "It's too warm in here. We really don't want to see that sort of thing." "What do you mean?" The EP gestures to my scars. "All that mess." I silent stare as I feel more and more tense. "Oh, come on. I don't want my son to think it's something cool. You should really hide those so people don't get upset." I've gone quiet at this point because this has already upset me and I can feel a panic attack coming in. My friend also notices this. My friend says, "Leave him alone. It's none of your concern." Then the EP says, "All I want for him is to hide those disgusting scars." "Lady, try thinking before you speak. You're upsetting my friend. All I wanted was a simple request. If he doesn't want people to comment on it, then he shouldn't expose himself." I'm exploding into tears. "Sorry, I've been too busy with fucking trying to kill myself to look after my appearance." Then the EP says, "Well, that was unnecessary. How rude." My friend says, "Go away. He's the one making us uncomfortable. Can't you just take him away? He probably won't be here for much longer anyway." Oh my word. Getting triggered myself. At this point, I'm unsure if she means in the restaurant or the other thing. Either way, I've had enough, and I walk out of the restaurant in tears with a panic attack hitting me hard. My friend had a word with the waiter to make sure they didn't think we were dining and dashing, and they said take all the time we needed. Sorry, there's no satisfying payoff here. No police, No arrest, no comeuppance, just a bitch who ruined my day. And that is just like the worst type of person. You can understand a child being sort of curious of what's on your arms and stuff, and I totally get that. Kids are curious, like you say. But for the mother to say hide your scars because they're disgusting, I mean, oh, come on, man. The scars are alone tell the story that you've been through enough shit without someone else dumping on you like that, you know? Fucking... As I always say, you just do you and stay strong, and you just keep doing your thing, because there's always going to be disgusting people out there, and you just got to rise above that sort of stuff. Much love, and I hope you find better days ahead. Next story we have from Kashi Bear. Crazy racist entitled mum demands my cancer-ridden mother to give her our apartment. This story took place when I was in the 8th grade, going into high school. We lived in apartments that were subsidised by a Section 8, that were basically funded by grants for Project Self-Sufficiency. This basically means we're allowed to live in the apartments as long as our guardians proved they were going to school or had a stable job. My mother was going to school to get her GED, then went on to get her bachelor's degree after that. She was also working at the housing authority of our town and was slowly but surely working her way up. Unfortunately, it was also at this time my mum was diagnosed with stage 2 uterine sarcoma. My mum started getting weaker after every chemo and radiation round, and eventually she got to the point where it was struggled to get dressed. She had to start working by home, which meant she was being demoted until she could go into work again. Soon, summer started, so without school being in the way, I could help my mum with anything she needed and watch over my brother. This is where the crazy shit starts happening. For reference, our apartment was fairly large with 2 stories and on the 2nd level. There were only 2 levels on each apartment, so we only had neighbours downstairs on the side. 2 of our downstairs neighbours were incredibly entitled, and their children were equally entitled. The one neighbour I'll be referencing in the story were called Barbara. Sorry to all the good Barbaras out there. Barbara had a little brat, about 6 or 7-year-old boy, that was fueled by Doritos and Orange Crush soda, that went around on his scooter and hit the apartment doors with a damn hammer. He would then ride back down, and as he was riding past the doors, he would scribble things on the doors with a purple Sharpie. He then did the same with all the upstairs doors. Every single door in our apartment complex was vandalised with dents and Sharpie scribbles, including my own. When I saw this, I was mortified. I came out of my apartment and knocked on the apartment manager's door. She answered, and since she was good friends with my mum, through their work, and one of the amazing people who helped us, she knew who I was. The manager said, "Hey OP, is everything okay? Does your mum need help?" I said, "Hey manager, no, everything is okay with my mum. There's a problem going on with Barbara's brat." Barbara's brat was a troublemaking kid, so this was not unheard of. She sighed and asked, "Okay, what's going on?" I then gestured her to come outside and look at the doors. She immediately noticed the dents in all the doors and the Sharpie scribbles. She was absolutely furious. Manager and I then worked our way to my unit and we knocked on Barbara's door and she answered. She swung the door open, you could hear it slam against the doorstop. She was wearing shorts and a tank top, barely kept everything in place. She had half a burnt out cig in her mouth. She took a long drag before she spoke. Entitled Barbara, EB, Manager M, me/OP, me, Barbara's brat, BB, my mother, Mum. EB said, "What do you need, M?" "Hello EB, we need to discuss the actions of BB." "What do you mean? He hasn't done anything. I swear if you're going to accuse him of some act then..." "EB, you'll please step aside and look at the doors, you'll notice what BB did. We have a witness here telling me she saw what he was doing." EB is now looking at me. "You? What could you have possibly have seen?" "BB has been riding his scooter the whole time, he hasn't done any of this vandalism. You probably did it and blamed it on my kid." I said, "EB, why would I vandalise my own door?" I then pointed at my door and then back to hers. "Your door is the only one that's not vandalised. I saw BB scribbling on the doors with a purple Sharpie and banging them with a hammer." EB said, "That's fucking ridiculous. We don't even own a hammer. You know what? I will not stand for this bullshit. BB, come here." BB comes out of his room with a hammer in his hand and a purple Sharpie covering his hands and some is even on his face. I start to smile that "I told you so" smile. M looked at BB and then back to EB. The manager said, "I'm sorry EB, but we're going to have to evaluate your future with your housing. You can expect to be billed for the repair and possibly replacement of the doors BB damaged. We'll be in contact with you very soon." EB is furious. She grabs the hammer and throws it out of her apartment and slams the door. Manager tells me that my door isn't badly damaged and if I just take some rubbing alcohol, the Sharpie will come off the door. I thank her and then go home. Unfortunately, this was not the end. Not even an hour later, Barbara starts banging on my door. I look through the peephole and see her red with rage and another cig in her mouth. She banged again and yelled for me to open the door. My mum woke up after hearing all the commotion and she started coming downstairs. I urged her to go back to bed but she wouldn't. She opened the door and EB tore into my mum. Midway through yelling at my mum, who was in tears by the way, she stopped and looked around my apartment. EB said, "Wow, OP's mum, you live nicely up here. Why'd you get a bigger house than me and BB? My mum said, EB, our family is bigger than yours, so we need more space to live comfortably. You barely have anything in here. It's almost empty. We have so much stuff. It'd be so nice to have this space. We're silent for a second, then she continues. EB says, you know what? You guys should let us move in here. You don't need all this space. Plus, we can make better use of it. My mum says, I'm sorry, EB, that's not possible. We can't just... You work for the housing authority, so you can just file an order to switch us, can't you? After all, OP has subjected me and BB to harassment and false accusations. You really should raise your children to be more upstanding and not such liars. I didn't expect anything else from Wet. My mother had an incredibly hard childhood and life, and thus is very, very timid, as well as incredibly sensitive. She just stood there in tears with a hand on the wall supporting herself from falling or taking this verbal abuse. My heart broke with every little sniff my mum made. I couldn't stand by any longer, so I stood up for her. I said, my mum is very sick, EB, you know that. You need to leave right now. We aren't giving you our house, and I did not make false accusation towards you or your kid. Please leave us alone. EB said, how dare you? I'm an adult. I'm your superior. We deserve to have a bigger house. You need to get out because this is my house now, you beaners. You're lucky I don't call ICE. You have no business being here. I was completely caught off guard. I couldn't believe what was happening. I seriously felt like I was having a fever dream. I could see EB getting closer, and she was almost stepping inside the doorway. I pushed as hard as my 14-year-old self could, hitting EB in the face with the door. You could hear her scream and yell and tell her she's calling the cops for assaulting her amongst other things. I can't be bothered to remember. I helped my mum back upstairs and console her. The cops were actually called out, but after talking to the apartment manager, EB and BB, as well as us, they had decided in our favour. Turns out we could actually press charges against EB and BB for vandalism and harassment. Needless to say, we did. We won our case after months of going to court and building a case against EB, and shortly after, EB was kicked out of our apartments and sentenced. I have a lot of stories from this time, so you might see some more posts from me in the near future, if this post does fairly well. Oh my word, I mean, like, this family's already going for enough in life. It's like, it's always with these EP stories, and then they just suddenly come in and say, oh yeah, we're just going to move in your house. It's just like, she truly deserved that door in her face. Well done, OP. Well done. Now we have a story from Brother. Entitled parents tell me I should move seats so their kid doesn't see me eat. In a food court. M, me, ED, entitled dad, EM, entitled mum, HK, hungry kid, 3 years old, MK, mortified kid, 10 years old. Here's what happened. I missed my tram today, so I decided to get a bowl of pasta from a centre nearby. The place is in a food court, and instead of individual tables, there's picnic tables set together. Maybe 16 seats each table. You find a seat and you sit in it, no matter who's around. So I grab my bowl of delicious hot pasta and look for a seat. Place is full, except for 3 seats all the way at the end of the hall. So I rush over there and put my bowl down, then dig in. Except, there's a family of 2 parents and 2 kids sitting in front of me, and HK is looking at my pasta like it's Sir Brienne, and she's Tormund. She turns to her dad right away and speaks in their language, but it's obvious she wants to get food. Now this family is sitting in a food court, but don't have any food with them. ED waves her off. She repeats and points at my food. He tells her off again. 4th time she does it, EM looks at me and says, hey, I'm sorry, but do you mind moving to another table? She's going to throw a tantrum if she keeps watching you eat. I say, there's no empty seats but these 3 here. I've looked everywhere, and this is a food court. Everyone is eating. Entitled dad says, yeah, but we're facing the wall. We can't see anyone but you eating. Then I say, yeah, I guess she'll have to hang on for the next few minutes. I eat pretty fast. They both stare at me. ED says, no, I'm asking you politely to sit somewhere else. Bringing children out of the house is hard enough without you making it harder. I'm politely saying no. The less you make me talk, the faster I eat, the faster I leave. MK says something to her parents in their language. She looks crazy embarrassed. Her parents shush her. ED's face is completely red by now, stands up and slams his fist on the table, tells me to pick another seat, or else. I'm not worried, I'm a foot taller than him, so I can take him. All of a sudden, HK starts crying really loud, flailing up and down like a muppet, and threw herself to the floor. Ian tells me they were having a good day until I came along. I told her not to bring a little kid to a food court and not feed them. She said they were resting. Not my problem. That to lift HK and carry her so they could leave. Her screeching was filling the entire place, and poor MK was looking on the ground like she wanted it to swallow her. I took my time eating my pasta. Bit of petty revenge in there as well. Love it. But yeah, the dude is right the whole time. Why the hell do you take a child into a food court and not feed them? Just get up and buy the kid some pasta. I mean, come on now. Or just take the kid out. It's really not that difficult. As always, guys, I'd like to thank you for being here. And as I said at the start, if you're interested in some daddy cringe mugs, coming soon, then don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be picking from our subscriber base as a way of just saying, it's a very tiny thank you, I know, but it's a thank you nonetheless, because your support does mean the absolute world to me. Thank you very much, guys. Take care now. Goodbye.